Hi everyone, welcome to Smart Math Online Tutor. Through this video, I am going to teach you about how to find the square root. This is a completely new section for grade 8. So let us see what is this square root. We know each mathematical operation has its opposite mathematical operation. For an instance, the opposite of addition is subtraction and the opposite of division is multiplication. So, the square root is the opposite of a square. So, if you need to do the opposite of squaring, that is called the square root. And here is the symbol for square root. And then, let us see what are perfect square numbers. When you multiply a number by the same number, you get the perfect square numbers. For an example, here you see 1 into 1 is 1 and 2 into 2 is 4. So here 1 and 4 are perfect square numbers. Likewise, you have all these square numbers and so much more. The important thing in this case is you should have an idea about the last digit of these square numbers. Look at these last digits. If you go through carefully, always the last digit of perfect square numbers will be 0, 1, 4, 5, 6 or 9. Remember, 2, 3, 7 and 8 will never come at the last digit of a perfect square number. So that is for your extra knowledge. Moving on to the next part. Square root of a perfect square number. This is very simple. If you know how to write a number as its perfect square. Now for an example, 64 can be written as 8 squared because 64 is 8 into 8. Then square root of 64 is simply 8. What has happened here is, remember like this. The square and this square root has been cancelled. And then look at this example. Square root of 121. You should remember 11 into 11 is 121. So 121 can be written as 11 squared. And once again, the square over here and the square root sign can be cancelled. Then our answer is 11. So if you are requested to find the square root of a perfect square number, it is very easy. But I recommend you to remember at least the first 15 square numbers so that you can work out easily. Now let us see what if you are given a large number. How to find the square root of a perfect square number if the square number is quite large? Something like this. We can do this in two ways. So one way is using prime factors. And look at this question. We are going to find the square root of 324. Now 324 is quite a large square number. So this can be done in a simple way like this. What we do is we find the prime factors of 324. It is very simple. We have to divide 324 by prime numbers until you get 1. So here we start. 324 can be divided by 2 and this is the answer 162. Once again it can be divided by 2. So once again we divide it by 2 and you get 81. 81 cannot be divided by 2 but we know it is divisible by 3. So that we divide it by 3 like this and the answer becomes 27. Once again it can be divided by 3. Once again by 3. And finally again by 3 and you get 1. Now what we do is we write 324 as a product of all these prime numbers and it will be like this. We need to find the square root of 324, so we use this root sign and then using the root sign itself, instead of 324, you write the prime factors just found. And then what I do is, I told you square root sign can be cancelled with squares. So I make the prime factors into pairs like this. And then I can write down 2 into 2 as 2 squared and 3 into 3 as 3 squared like this. Now I have taken the squares inside the square root sign. So with the square root sign, the squares can be cancelled and my answer will look like this. 2 into 3 into 3. We know 2 into 3 is 6, 6 into 3 is 18. Therefore, the root of 324 is 18. This is a very simple method. I have taken time to explain it, but you can do it very easily. Now, let's go to the next method. That is the method of observation. To use the method of observation, you should have an idea about the first 10 square numbers. Right. This is the question we are given. We are going to find out the square root of 784. First of all, let me write down the first 10 square numbers like this for easy clarification. Right. Now, the first step is you have to see the last digit of the number we are going to find the square root. It is 4. Right. Then we come to the first 10 square numbers and see the places or the square numbers where you have 4 at the end. Now, if you go through carefully, 2 into 2 is 4 and 8 into 8 is 64. At both places, you have 4 at the end. Since there are 2 places where you have 4 at the end, we can predict 2 answers for this. So, I predict 2 answers and the last 2 digits of these 2 answers can be, now 2 into 2 is 4. 4, square root of 4 is 2. Therefore, I put 2 in this place. And here in the other instance, it is 8 into 8, 64. So, the other possible last digit is 8. Right. Now we have decided or we have guessed the last possible digits in our answers. Now we have to go for the first digit. Now the first digit, to observe or to find out the first digit, we look at the first digit of the question, that is 7. And now we think of the closest square number to 7 which is less than 7. It should be closer to 7 and it should be less than 7. Right? Now, closer to 7, you have 4 and 9. But since it must be less than 7, we select 4. Square root of 4 is 2. So, I put 2 like this. So, these are the 2 possible answers for the root of 784. But there cannot be 2 answers. There can be only one answer. So, what we do is we multiply 28 by 28 and find the answer. Whereas we multiply 22 by 22 and find the answer. And we can clarify which is the correct answer. Now, if you multiply 28 by 28 and 22 by 22, you will get the answers like this. So, now you can see the correct answer is very clear. 28 into 28 is 784. So, then the square root of 784 is 28. Now, in this case, since I need to show you the answers of both, I have done both the multiplications. But if you do 28 into 28 first and if you get the answer as 784, then you don't need to waste time on multiplying 22 into 22. You can directly write the answer as root of 784 is equal to 28. Since this method is little bit complicated, I'm going to do another example with you. So that is the square root of 961. Once again, let me take down the perfect squares like that. And then the last digit is 1. So here in this case, 1 into 1 is 1. You have 1 there. And when you come down, 9 into 9 is 81. So you have 1 at the end in 2 square numbers. That is 1 and 81. Therefore, once again, there can be 2 possible answers here. So let us put the blanks. And now, since the square root of 1 is 1, I fill one blank, the last digit of one of the answers with 1 and the last digit of the other answer with 9 because 9 into 9 is 81. Right? Then we come to the first digit. The first digit of the question is 9. 9 is a perfect square number. So therefore no need to find the closest one for this digit because 9 is already a perfect square number. The root of 9 is 3. So what we do is we put 3 in both the places. And then the next step, you know what to do. We multiply 39 by 39 and 31 by 31 and see what gives you 961. Right, let's multiply. And there you go. 31 into 31 is 961. Therefore, the root of 961 is 31. So this is how you calculate the square root of a given number by the observation method. Remember, this method can be followed for the numbers between 100 and 1000. So keep that also in your mind. Hope I made myself clear with this section of finding the square root of a given number using prime factors and by the observation method. See you with another smart math clip. Until then, goodbye.